Hello and welcome to Spare Change Podcast. Today, I'm going to be speaking on a topic that's really important and it will eventually involve most, if not all of us who are living in the more digital age of, you know, finance and financial services, financial technology. Um, if you're really involved in cryptocurrency, this is going to be a new side of that. Um, and it can have good and bad aspects to it. So let's hop right in. The website I'm using for anyone interested is atlanticcouncil.org, as well as I'll hand over to my other tab, but World Economic Forum. They just put out an article about a day ago talking all geoeconomic situations as of December 19th, 2022. So back to Atlantic Council. What this is one hub tracking all things central bank digital currency. What that is digital currency issued by central banks of countries um, correlated to existing currencies, i.e., let's say the US dollar. And aside from just having the US dollar and treasury notes, what will be added over time is a digital US dollar. The ultimate goal of these is more regulation, more accessibility to those who don't already have access to traditional banking and um, existing financial services. Some of the risks we will cover throughout this video, this audio. Um, but feel free to drop a question at any point during the video. I'll do my best to get to everyone's questions. All right. So they start off in perfect fashion, just defining what exactly the question everyone's going to have is, which is what is a central bank digital currency? I kind of explained it, but in their words, they say that it is a virtual money backed and issued by a central bank. As cryptocurrencies and stable coins have become more popular, the world's central banks have realized that they need to provide an alternative or let the future of money pass them by. So obviously, there is some play in this where a country's economics will depend on their ability to keep up with technology and sustain a primary hold on financial markets, both to include existing debt and include all other aspects of that country's trade, as it plays a huge part in global economics. Because if a country can't trade on the level that other countries can, its economics will suffer. The cost of living, goods, all of that is trickle down to the average consumer and the retail crowd. This could obviously lead to things like bank runs if people have less confidence in the banks and they switch over to a digital that is not based in that country's already existing economic net. That can be very detrimental to that country's economy. So one of the big parts of this website and being able to track central banking digital currencies, um, they include all countries, whether it's an active process or not. But 119 countries being involved in this, and they do state later in this article that that is 95 or more percent of the global GDP exploring central bank digital currencies. So this is very much um, an active concern for all economies worldwide. One of the things that really struck me was just the aspect of, of course, there's got to be something that each country is going to do to get in on financial markets, especially in the digital world. But I know one of the things the World Economic Forum highlighted was they spoke on specifically the UK seeking to accelerate and achieve their digital pound potentially by 2025. Um, and they're beginning to set out all the technology considerations for the UK's financial service industry to switch into this digital age. Um, this is all high on the heels of the collapse of FTX. We kind of discussed that slightly, but just the ultimate concerns with you know more decentralized and more the conversation between centralized and decentralized currencies, and a lot of these companies that are running the more decentralized are strong. uh, they're strongly against these centralized currencies and the exchanges that we've seen, like FTX or Coinbase. A lot of the individualized cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, while they're seeing massive withdrawals post FTX in the numbers of $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin withdrawals within such a short time span off the heels of FTX. That being said, they still are highly proponent of maintaining a decentralized currency where the stakeholders or the investors of that currency maintain their own wallets. They're not under a centralized exchange, which is essentially what central bank digital currencies will be. You will be on your country's exchange, or you're in your country's market. And in terms of adoption, this is going to be huge. Even China's numbers are stated on this article to be around 260 million people are projected to uh, become participants of this new digital currency around 2023, which is, I mean, that's right around the corner. We're in the last month of 2022 now. It seems like time has flown. Um, Other concerns, financial sanctions on Russia have led them to consider other payment systems. So this can be a way to negate dealing with the US dollar. And I'm not sure how all of that's going to play out, but there are potentials for alternative markets and potential new ways of executing trade between countries, which can both be, like I said earlier, a problem and a solution at the same time. I'm sure there will be so much regulation, so much argument and debate, and not everybody that's currently a policymaker really understands the technology. So we'll get to that point eventually, but I don't think we're in a spot right now where this is going to be an overnight process. Yes, 2023 is a goal, but is it really going to be the most flawlessly executed thing? I don't believe so. So as we get deeper, I'm not really going to talk every country and what they're doing exactly, but they show specific projects. Whatever. Let's say France is running Onyx, and they're trying to do cross-border payments using JP Morgan's existing digital framework to execute digital currency trading. Or Project Icebreaker, which is the Bank of Israel and the Bank of Norway and a couple other countries are involved, but executing cross-border payments with each other's digital currencies. That's some of the way this timeline might kind of populate and the way that we might see things develop in the future. So we've already kind of covered what a CBDC is. Like we said, a digital form of a country's fiat currency. And it acts as a stake in the central bank instead of having physical printed money. You now have blockchain authenticated currency that is locked to your country's economic standing. And these are issued by the country in which they're being supplied versus a cryptocurrency exchange or another method of exchanging digital goods or digital assets. A lot of the things that we talked about, we're going to get into the deeper kind of argument between why would we do this versus what are some of the things that might occur if it's not managed well. In this article, they state there's many reasons to explore digital currencies, whether that's bringing up uh, financial inclusion and providing a broader service and financial technology to more customers through the country's banks and through the economic framework that already exists in the country, rather than hoping that everyone finds a digital exchange and tries to integrate that way. You can just kind of push it out through the country's existing financial frameworks. Um, and then they talk about challenges. If people pull out too much money at once, it could trigger a bank run, which that's already a thing in China. I don't know why China's pushing so hard to potentially open themselves and expose themselves more to these new situations, new challenges. Beats me because they're already struggling with real estate. One thing I will say is people don't often feel confident about digital assets if we're talking in terms of millennials and Gen Z, where a lot of people have this perception of I need to be this overnight millionaire or instantly successful because that's all I see around me. It's all I see online. So it could definitely, if there's mass panic, mass hysteria over red numbers, that could be a very quick turnaround on like negative impacts and a very quick turnaround on seeing just how bad the system could turn out to be. Um, it's good that these risks are being considered now, considering that 95% of the global GDP is at stake with this new system. Um, one of the things that is also highlighted here is cyber attacks and hacking or even just like bad actors in the space. And that's already an existing problem in cryptocurrency that I've discussed, whether it's someone who's just being malicious trying to steal your passwords, or it's a larger scale, like a country has employed hackers to either blackmail or corrupt the system to gain financial resources from within, whether it's a company or even the actual physical banking system. There are a lot of issues that could be uncovered as we develop this new technology. I'm curious to hear what everybody's going to say or think about this. It's kind of a less talked about topic, but it's so already developed that I think it's important to highlight because it will have an impact on our daily lives. And national security, that's a big thing. I know here in the US, we've had issues with pipeline hacks or even like power grid. There was in North Carolina, there was a domestic attack on a power grid where somebody shot out like a transformer or something significant like that. Just disrupts the flow of an already impacted supply chain and an already impacted economic situation. I know everybody was panicking here when the coastal pipeline went down, and then nobody could get gas, and we were already dealing with COVID and supply chain issues. The grocery stores didn't really have anything, so all of these really key aspects of daily life have been impacted, and we've seen it happen again and again. Um, So it will be very interesting to see what that looks like when everything's online, when all of your currency, all of your money is in a digital wallet tied to, you know, a specific identity, a strand of code that is your new connectivity. And I talked to Devin Sony last week about, we're gonna see hyper connectivity where it's like, you know, all of your points of commerce, all of your social networking, all of your financial services, it's all going to be in house in one specific framework based on that conversation. And I think this is just more evidence of that, where we will see eventually these continued conversations about, okay, being connected is great, but also we expose ourselves to so much risk. I think that's the meat and potatoes of this conversation, but there's going to be so much more regulation that we'll see. I'm excited to cover it. Not so excited to jump right into it or be immediately a part of it. I'm very skeptical when it comes to new technology, new financial um, services, whether they're brought to you by the government or they're brought to you by someone like Sam Bankman-Fried. It is very important to have trust in what you're putting your money into. I think we're gonna definitely learn more about this topic. We're definitely gonna have some people who are more experienced, more knowledgeable about it, come on the show and kind of talk more about what exactly this means for the average consumer. Definitely hope that you were able to gain some sort of knowledge out of this discussion. And if you have any questions for me, if you want to learn something different, financial based conversation, if you would like to, let your friends know, hey, this is something I just got interested in because I heard about it on this podcast. Great. All of those things are very important to me. I will leave you with this. I don't believe in every financial system, but I think that we are trending in a positive direction, at least as far as information goes. The amount of information, the amount of knowledge that is at everyone's fingertips is extremely, like, exponentially different than what it was, let's say 20, 30 years ago. Um, and the fact that my generation has grown up and so much new things have been exposed to us as far as financial technology, I think it's only a trend that's going to make us all more aware and bring us into a new financial space where we're able to kind of grow and experience new ways to bring about wealth, new ways to grow financially. And I don't think that's a negative thing. So, again, I could be wrong, but I hope that this sheds some light on where I think the future of financial technology and financial services is going. If you enjoyed today's episode, please give it a share, like, and comment. Definitely follow and subscribe to the podcast if you're interested in conversations that I have. And have a great rest of your weekend or week at this point. And I will see you all next week.